So here we are, day 8, COVID-19, lockdown South Africa, 3rd of April 2020. What news did we wake up to in Pietermaritzburg? The local newspaper covered an article about the army, or rather extra army members being deployed to Pietermaritzburg. And they used a word like unruly and uncooperative to describe Pietermaritzburg. Now, obviously, I wasn't too happy about that because this is my hometown and I'm one of the individuals who's really doing what I have to do. I'm really towing the line, and people that I know are doing the same. Yes, there are some who have an IDC attitude, but that's their can to carry and not ours. So to me, it was a very generalized way to describe my hometown, and it did evoke certain feelings in me. I was disappointed. But before the disappointment, I was also a bit angry. The book this morning is one that I tend to resort to just when, I'm not feeling too good. And this morning I wasn't feeling too good when I saw that on the news and watched that on social media as well. Because I was really disappointed, I thought things were going on pretty well. So anyways, it's this book, and it's called The Art of Living by Swami Chinmayananda. And I received this book as a gift in 1991. And the chapter that I turned to was The Mind of Man. Now, the mind of man is so different to that from the mind of the animal. And what places us on this being the crown of existence? We claim to be the crown of existence, but how do we handle anger? How do we handle our aggression and things like that? We cannot be, comparing ourselves to just any art creation. Now let's look at an animal and where the difference is. If you were to pull a dog's tail or trample on a dog's tail, he's not going to turn around and say, well, excuse me, did you know that you hurt me? He's going to bite you. Now, we're different. We have logic. We have the ability to discern and to discriminate between right and wrong, and how we react to it. So this morning I'm going to look at anger and anger management. Now, anger is natural, anger is normal, but how you react to it, that's the biggest problem. When I looked at the types of anger, to me this morning it was mild irritation. But can you imagine the absolute rage that the people in the townships are feeling? And if you look overseas, those in, the refugee camps and places like that, they need to get food. So for them, they're not coming into town to have some luxury. They're not coming into the city for luxury. They're coming in for necessities. So can you imagine their deep-seated anger? Also, the rate of gender-based violence has increased, according to our Minister Thele. It's actually tripled. So we have a situation where there's lots of different types of anger taking place. If you look at my page on Facebook, you will find that I have put on 2 posts, and those are the contact numbers, government contact numbers and NGO contact numbers for GBV and any other type of abuse or violence. So you're not alone. Don't think that because the country is in lockdown that there is no protection and that you're obliged to go through whatever you're going through. I understand that the situation is crazy at the moment, but I think we just need to start living in harmony. However we do it, we need to start doing it. Now, anger, if you have unchecked feelings of anger, it can lead to very unhealthy states. And sometimes it can show in extreme outward aggression. But worse than that is when you boil it within you and it manifests later in your life. It affects your relationships, it affects work, it affects a multitude of things. So you need to deal with this anger, and how do you deal with it? Now, I'm not looking at it from those that can afford the luxury of therapists, those that can afford to say, well, I'll go into another room. In many cases, there's just one room that people are in. Tiny little places, they're confined, so they don't have these luxuries. They don't have the luxury of speaking to somebody, because that too is going to cause some anger. It's just going to go from one to the other. So how do we deal with this? Now, there's two methods I'd like to share with you. One is breathing, and when I say breathing, I mean like, deep breathing, counting 10, the famous old count to 10, and release. Breathe and release. While I'm doing this, I need to reiterate that this is not a therapy session and that you would need a therapist, and also that your health needs to be in order if I make any suggestion or if I go through any types of things with you. For example, now I'm going to be doing breathing and I'm going to be doing muscle relaxation, progressive muscle relaxation, which is another technique that you can use to deal with your anger. I don't want to say control or whatever, because there again, there comes that word of power, and that's not what we want. Very often power leads to anger. So we go on to this, and it's pretty easy to do the deep breathing, right? But what you need to do before you even think of all that is you need to identify your triggers. And once you identify your triggers, then you know, okay, this is coming on, and this is what I need to do. And you don't need a huge space for this. You don't need anyone else to help you. This is a very, very personal I, me, myself exercise. There's a saying, and before I go on to this, I just want to quickly go to this, a very commonly used one, that if you were to stop and throw stones at every dog that barks at you on your way, you will never reach your destination. Anger is that barking dog, and you need to deal with it in certain ways, or you should deal with it in certain ways for your own well-being. Okay, so your warning signs. Your triggers, you know what irritates you. Large crowds, people, some people you just don't like, so try not to even if you're forced to stay with them, train yourself to understand that I have no choice. I run outside and the army's there, the police are there, so where do I go? The other end, coronavirus could kill me, so what choice do I have, right? This is not if you don't have to be with this person. This is if you have to, right? If you have no choice, then you have to figure out a way to deal with this. And there's many ways of doing it, but let's look at the simple things, right? So you know your triggers. Now your warning signs, your heart rate could increase, your ears get very hot, clench your fists, grit your teeth, all that kind of thing. So use these warning signs to your advantage to take control. As soon as they come, you know, I've got to do something about it, okay? Now what you do is with the breathing, as I said, you breathe in, count to 10, calm down, breathe out, okay? Now let me tell you about progressive muscle relaxation. This has been done since the 30s. It's so private that when you're doing it, nobody even knows that you're doing it. In 15-second lots, all you do is be on your own, and you can be on your own in a crowd. I think you're aware of that, because I practice this when I'm in crowds or when I'm with people that I'm just not comfortable with or something is annoying me. So you tense the muscles of your forehead, 15 seconds, and you relax it. You do the same to your jaw, you relax. You come down to your neck, and you relax for another 15 seconds. So you tense for 15 seconds, you relax for 15 seconds. And you start from your forehead and you come right down to your feet. So there's 7 different areas that you should focus, if you can. Your forehead, your jaw, because you know when you're angry, you're great. Your neck and your shoulders, your arm and your hands, your buttock area, your legs and your feet. It's very simple, and I hope that this can help you, considering that, you know, not everybody has luxury for therapy and all that kind of thing. So be that as it may, I wish you well, and I'd like to end with a quote from Mahatma Gandhi. And it says, anger and intolerance are the enemies of correct understanding. Anger and intolerance are the enemies of correct understanding. And those two things reside in you. So you need to, for your own sanity, control these enemies. Much love and blessings. Stay strong, stay focused, and above all, please obey the laws of the areas that you are in. For your own sake, for the sake of your loved ones, please, I beg of you, obey the laws. Until we meet again, May God forever hold you in the palm of his hand.